guys, and welcome to the second episode of Rewind, the podcast. Today's guest is the CEO of Core Nutritionals, Nutritional Corners, Miracle Labs, American Energy, and Arms Race Nutrition. He's a drug-free pro bodybuilder, two-time world champion, Mr. Doug Miller. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Look forward to it.
So just want to, before we get into things, just see how the Crush It team are today.
They're good. They're crushing it.
I knew you was going to say that.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, now that we moved our gym we've cut out an area of our warehouse for our gym, we literally are crushing it in here. So it's been a lot of fun.
Good. So how's family life, Steph and the boys? They all good?
They're good. They're a lot of fun right now. So I really look forward to my time with them because 3.5 and 6.5, and they're wild. You never know what's going to come out of their mouths. They're very active, fun to play with. So
yeah, I see them knocking about on your social medias lately. So spending a pretty amount of time with them.
I'm definitely that dad on the sidelines yelling.
Good. So just for my introduction to you and how I came about knowing about your brands and with you within the businesses. So I first came along you with Massive Joe's, watching some YouTube channels. I know you've got a good relationship with Joe. So I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, I came across, he was doing I think it was a raw review for Core Fury Extreme pre-workout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the time I was like, man, I've got to get my hands on some of that. And I think 5-6 years ago, it was hard to get that over here because there was nobody that was distributing it, and you had to import it, and it was costing a lot more money. So thank God Fat Jimmy came along.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, you know, with your brands, I think your brands, you know, the way you label them, the way that they taste, everything, the absolute quality, you know, down to the absolute tea of everything. So we first met each other at Body Power back in May 2018. You was at the A-List Nutrition stand. In fact, that morning I came down for breakfast and I was in absolute awe because you were all sat there. Everybody that had actually come to the venue for, you know, a walk through the door of the breakfast lounge, if you like, and you're all sat there right in front of me at the table. And I was like, okay, I don't need to go there now because they're all in here having breakfast. So, but yeah, you know, it was cool to see you all, you know, just in your, you know, natural habitat and not, you know, doing what you're doing on the internet and social medias and stuff. So hopefully, you know, when Body Power UK lifts off again and, you know, Corona's out of the way and we can get you obviously back over here again, you know, I'll pop down to the stands again and say hello, and we can hopefully go for a gym workout if you know, Jimmy and the rest of the guys are going to be doing one. I'll definitely hit you up for that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very skeptical on whether or not Body Power is coming back, though.
Right.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I think it will. You know, across the world with any venues like that, you know, that holding big events, it's going to be hard, I think, going back to something like that, for sure.
Yeah.
So just before we get started, so what's today been like for you? What have you been up to? Or
every day. So one of the reasons why I love what we do is every day is different, right? Like today, one of the big things we're releasing soon are our protein balls. Right. So we have the final packaging. This actually has the 5 balls in it, so you can kind of see, you know, they're stand-up pouches, so they stand up. And then we got our final mock boxes here, so you can envision 10 packs in this, you know, and then it has a nice stand-up retail. So we were working on some final touches on these. We should have the printed boxes here next week. So there's a lot of pieces that have to come together in projects like that, especially completely new categories. So there's a bunch of stuff going on with that. And then, you know, editing some write-ups on some new products. I mean, it's just not sampling products. It's just nonstop. And no day is alike. I mean, it really isn't. And so that's one of the reasons I love what I do. Good.
So it sounds like, you know, every day is different and you're walking in through the door knowing that there's something new on the table for you to either go through, sample test, you know, completely different things every day.
Yep, absolutely.
So, okay, so let's get into your working background. Let's start off. Where did work life begin for you? You know, because obviously I know that you wasn't in the supplement game from day one, leaving college or whatever.
Yeah, so I studied biochemistry, molecular biology, and economics in college. Right out of school, I started working with a company called Bates White in Washington, D.C. The firm was less than a year old at the time. I was one of the early employees there. It was an economic litigation consulting firm. Yeah. So it was a great gig. You know, it was a great job, paid great benefits. Worked with a bunch of really smart people that I always enjoyed working with. I did that for 12 years. You know, I did that from 2001 to 2013. And, you know, at the same time, kind of on the side, you know, I started building the businesses. You know, I had a great job, but I wasn't passionate about it. My passion was clearly in fitness, bodybuilding, the supplement world. And in 2004/5 is when we first started Core Nutritionals. And that was because I wasn't happy with the options on the market at the time. You know, I was working a busy corporate job. I needed a good meal replacement. And at the time, all we had is those EAS Myoplex packets from like back in the day.
Yeah.
And they had maltodextrin and, you know, cheap proteins, and it just was not what I wanted to do. So we created Core MRP as our first product, took a $20,000 investment to create that product. And, you know, we founded the company on no proprietary blends, efficacious doses, no artificial colors, just really high quality, well thought out products, you know, premium level products. You know, at the time, you know, like today, it's a like you have to, the bare minimum is you have to be full disclosure, non-proprietary blend, like the consumer demands it. Back in 2005, we were one of the very first. You know, NutriBio was around, but they weren't really, you know, prominent in sports nutrition. You know, we were one of the first companies to really, you know, I don't want to say pioneer because there's nothing really pioneering about it, but we made it our mission to be full disclosure in terms of no proprietary blends and just really well thought out products, because up until that point they were all prop blends and they were just crap products. So that's kind of how Core started. You know, I was working and started on the side, and at the end of the day, it was really just a hobby for me for the first, gosh, I don't know how many years, 5-6 years. It became more successful as I became more successful in natural bodybuilding. I didn't take any money out of the business for the first 7 years. I reinvested every penny because I had a good job, right? I didn't need the money. So it was great because I could just continue to innovate, continue to put out new products. And it wasn't probably until 2013 when I stepped away from my corporate job and the golden handcuffs of that world that the brand really took off. And that was a big changing point, you know, in the brand. And at that time, the same reason I started Core Nutritionals, because I wasn't happy with what was out there. I wasn't happy with the retail game at the time. You know, it was GNC and Vitamin Shop, and that was it. Yeah. A lot of times they had uneducated employees, at least at the ones around me, and not a lot of the brands that I would want to, you know, carry and or use. And so I was like, man, we can do this better. You know, really wanted to create a retail experience that was based around knowledge, that was based around education, which was based around just the best brands at the best everyday pricing. Like we didn't want to do a gold card. You walk in there every day and you're going to pay internet pricing. Yeah. And so that's when the first Nutrition Corner was born about 10 years ago in Arlington, Virginia. So that was like 2010. We didn't start opening. Now we have 9 going on 10 stores. We didn't start opening more stores until 2013 after I left my corporate job.
So when you left your corporate job and you obviously started Core Nutritionals and, you know, and then moving on to the stores, did you find it hard transitioning your daily work time as well as bodybuilding at the same time?
No, it was great, to be honest with you. You know, yeah. I lived in a condo that was literally 1 block from the gym and 1 block from the Nutrition Corner that we opened. So it was super convenient. I'd walk to the gym, walk to the store, walk back to my home office. It was great. And, in fact, the following year I did a contest prep, by far my best prep ever, 2014. And it was awesome. It was just a great prep, awesome experience. And a lot of that was because I wasn't working my corporate job anymore. I could kind of make my own schedule, train when I wanted to train. So that was a huge change from my previous preps.
Yeah, I just thought, with you running your own businesses, it might have been a bit more difficult because obviously you're trying to work around the clock to try and lift it off the ground a bit more. And
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I was used to that. I was used to working 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week in my consulting world. On top of that, working on the businesses on the side. So I'm no stranger to putting in the long hours. So, and I'm an extremely disciplined person. So, making that transition was not very difficult, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So what did it feel like when you finally achieved the goal to first open your very first store? Was it a relief off your shoulders, or,
I wouldn't say it was a relief, because I didn't feel pressure to do it. I was excited to do it. I was passionate about it, and I wanted to do it. And I knew that because I was so passionate about it, it was going to be a success. I mean, literally, success follows passion. And I think other people can pick up on that. And I have been lucky enough to have an amazing team throughout the years that also have that same passion and feed off of mine. That has really helped, all the brands and businesses be successful. So, I mean, it wasn't a relief. It was just excitement, right? Like, I was like, all right, what's next? Let's keep this rolling. So, yeah.
So with you saying that you've got 9 stores now going on 10, the 9 that I know of are all in state of Virginia. Are you looking to expand outside of Virginia, or are they all
so we're relocating our headquarters. Our headquarters now, where I'm sitting today for the brands, is in Sterling, Virginia. We're actually buying a building and completely redoing it, completely customized for our use, in North Carolina. It will be right next to our largest manufacturer. Like, literally throw a stone, we're neighbors. So they're buying a building, we're buying a building. So it's going to be amazing to have our manufacturing facility, or at least one of them, a stone throws away. The amount of efficiencies we can have, shipping costs, innovation on new products, how fast we can turn around new flavors, the amount of social media and other content that we can get of our products running on the line, showing the behind the scenes of how products manufactured. Will now not have to drive hours and hours to make that happen or fly. We can literally walk next door. So, we're moving to North Carolina, so we're probably going to be doing our next stores in North Carolina.
Right. So that was one of the questions I was going to ask. So what's the reason for the HQ move?
So this facility that I'm in now, we got the back end of a sublease. So it was a tenant who was here for 10 years. We needed more space. They were moving on or moving out of this area. So we actually stole this space, and we pay, a ton of money a month to rent this space. And in fact, we're probably paying 20% under market value, 25% under market value, because it was a sublease, and anything's better than nothing at the end of a lease. So they were willing to accept it. We don't need to be here. Sterling, Ashburn, Virginia are the data center capitals of the world. Literally, like 70% of the world's internet goes through my neighbors right here. They're all these massive data centers. So they buy up land at $1 million an acre and put, like, you were talking like million square foot facilities on here as data centers. Like, really, they spare no expense. The money doesn't matter because it just churns so much. So I don't need to be here. I'm here because right out of school, my job was in DC, and we've kind of established, I mean, we have a great community here, but we don't need to be here. So we were looking, when this lease was up, we were like, well, okay, so we could move anywhere in the country. Why don't we, let's look for a reason to move somewhere. And this opportunity came up where we've become a great partner with our manufacturer. And it just made sense. So I am buying and rehabbing like top to bottom. It's going to be an awesome facility. And at the end of the day, my mortgage payment on a building that I own on 4 acres of land will be half the price that I'm paying now.
Oh, wow.
Like literally half. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars a month cheaper to be there in a building that I own, right? So we're building out our custom 7,000 square foot gym, you know, next to this place. So it's really building our castles, like what we like to say. So we're super excited about it. That's the reason, the main reason for the move. And then we just really like the area. It's right north of Charlotte. It's on Lake Norman, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, to be honest with you, Northern Virginia is not, I'm trying to be politically correct here. It's uber liberal here, right?
Okay.
And so like, I'm ready to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So we're moving to a little bit more, I'll just say less liberal area. And so myself and our entire team are super excited about it.
Good. So what's the main, what was the inspiration for you to head up your own brand eventually? Was it just because of the prop blends and what you didn't like on the market, or was there other things behind it? You were just like, I've just got to give this a go, or?
Yeah, and when I first started, I actually had a business partner who, after about maybe 2 years, I bought out. So at the time, we just weren't happy with what was on the market. It wasn't like, I never expected, it wasn't like a get rich quick scheme. It wasn't, you know, because I wanted to leave my day job. It really wasn't that at all. I really did not envision it to do. If you would have asked me 20 years ago if I would be here today, I'd probably say no. Like this is not the path that I was thinking of going on and getting a PhD in economics, possibly going for an MBA, staying in the corporate world. Like that was the path that was in my head.
Yeah.
Because that was what I kind of knew and what I was supposed to do. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, it truly was just a passion of mine, right? Like, and then it grew into more.
So I know you said obviously the proprietary blends and stuff like that. I've noticed that, you know, all of your products that I've used have got, you know, straight down the middle, tells you what's in it, no bullshit, you know, and that's what I prefer than some of these that you see on, you know, you see in your local stores that are prop blends. I mean, there's not a lot of them around now, but when 10 years ago there was plenty of them about. Is that one of the main, another reason why you decided not to take prop blends, because you just wanted to make sure that everybody knew exactly what they were getting?
Listen, so at the end of the day, and this is what I tell people to this day, I design products around what I want to use.
Yeah.
So literally, I couldn't care less back in those days how many units we sold, or if somebody wasn't extremely happy about it. I was viewing it as, okay, I'm an athlete. What do I want to use, right? And so we designed all the products, and still to this day design it around that, you know. And if other people want to use it too, that's great. But really, I want to design products that I knew what was going into it. I was involved in the manufacturing, so I could vouch for the quality of the products. You know, I was directly involved in third-party testing and things like that. A lot of the stuff that like these days are a requirement to just get in the game, and then you need really good branding, really good sales, you know, all of those things, right?
Yeah.
But back then that wasn't even the case, and I wasn't doing it thinking of like blowing this thing up, and you know, I wasn't trying to target any certain market with these products. I just did not want proprietary blends.
Yeah.
So if I didn't want a proprietary blends, and I'm an athlete, I figured other people who are athletes and have a science base probably don't want proprietary blends as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it turned out that's the case.
Yeah. So we've just picked up a little bit there on core nutritionals and the nutritional corners. So tell us about America Labs.
Yeah, so the America Labs was actually, it's important to talk about the nutrition corners before we talk about that. So, you know, in our retail stores, our guys and girls are trained to speak. Nice shaker bottle. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
our staff are trained to really engage with the consumer and get them talking. There are cases where some people just, nah, don't bother me, right? Like, just, I'm doing my thing, right?
Yeah.
And we would find that those people would sometimes just grab a tub of pre-workout that has a skull with snakes crawling in its eyes, just wild looking products that may have a proprietary blend, right?
Yeah.
So they bought the product solely on the look of the label, right? But they would never come back and buy it again because of the shitty experience that they had with that product,
yeah.
right? And it was because it was probably a prop blend with a ton of caffeine in it. And so we were like, man, we can do this and we can do it better. So we wanted to establish a marketing driven brand, like marketing first, but stick to the same core, no pun intended, principles of core nutritionals, no proprietary blends, no fillers, just really well thought out, efficacious doses of all the active ingredients, blah, blah, blah. And we did, and that's where America Labs came to be born, because this was in 2016 when we launched in January 2017. So this was right when like the election was going on with Hillary Clinton and Trump, and it was just like, it was craziness here. So we wanted to create a brand that was not a right brand or a left brand or a Republican or Democratic brand. It was a patriotic brand, a brand that was uber patriotic, so that people on the left could see the satirical nature of the uber patriotism, and the people on the right would grab hold of and like raise up that uber patriotism. So, the idea was to just stick with a patriotic, not a political brand, right? And it took off so well. We launched with 2 products, Red, White, Boom, Stars and Pipes. Very simple formulas, but they just kick ass. Like, they're great.
Yeah,
and it quickly went viral. The brand did amazing. Like, we did more in the first year of America Labs than I did in the first 7 years of Core, and just took off, right? So, and that kind of led into at that time, we were all big energy drink drinkers, and we loved Monster Zero, right? And so we're like, man, we could do an energy drink with the same branding. I mean, because just think about all the consumers who are drinking these energy drinks. Like, they would love this, right? Like, imagine them at a NASCAR race drinking America Energy, right? So it took me probably 10 months to figure it out, from the time of saying, okay, we're going to do this, to actually launching. So we launched America Energy, on Memorial Day 2018. So about a year and a half after we brought out the brand. And so that was a success. And, the energy drink game is just so competitive. It's crazy right now, because we were one of the few early adopters of the supplement industry players that started doing energy drinks. Now everyone and their brother has an energy drink, right?
Yeah.
And so we're actually in the process right now for America Labs, starting with A-Bomb as the first release of our. And then we're also putting America Energy on pause now, because COVID really hurt our supply chain and our distribution network, so we have massive amounts of, energy drinks that are getting close to expiration, because, these are shorter expiration products. COVID kind of put everything on hold. We just launched with Europa, and then COVID hit, right? And we were distributed through Muscle Foods before that. And so, like, yeah, it was just probably COVID affected America Labs, because it's more of a wholesale brand than a direct consumer brand, and America Energy the most out of all the brands, whereas Core has a really strong direct to consumer that has continued to grow throughout this. So we're in this process of kind of reviving America, and you'll see a ton of awesome new stuff coming out in the coming 6 months to a year on the America Labs, all with kind of like complete looks and updated looks and things like that. And the rebrand for Core in 2020, which we just are actually still kind of going through, has been just amazing for us. And we learned so many things through that rebrand of Core that we're also going to implement on the America Labs side.
Yeah.
So, it's been a wild ride.
So American Energy was a question that I was going to ask. So what made you take the route of, let's take the chance of jumping on board and doing one of these energy drinks? Because I have heard you say I think it was in another podcast, that it's a completely different game going into that sort of thing. than just making your own brand of supplements?
Because I don't like to sit still, and I like to innovate, and I like the challenge of figuring those things out. Like we also do beef sticks on the America Energy side, like America Snacks, America Energy, and that was a whole other manufacturing process that we had to learn. I just really enjoy figuring that out, finding out who to talk to, who's the right people we need to get in place here, how to figure out the logistics. I mean, you're moving water here, so on the energy drink side, logistics are a massive part of it. So it was really just a challenge that I was like, man, we can do this. And I just knew it would be successful, right? Given the branding. So, I'm always up for the challenge.
Right. So as we spoke before, before we started streaming this, you've been doing some sample testing today. So a question that I wanted to ask was, what's the longest product that it's took you to get through the right sampling flavor? And has there been one that's gone first time, bang, that flavor's bang on?
Like, listen, so like aminos, things like that are pretty easy to flavor. We know how to do that. Herbals are much more difficult. So thermogenics, test boosters, things of that nature. Like our core test is very, very, very palatable and actually quite good. That took us forever to formulate. We just came out with a new flavor. That took us, I don't know how long. And we had one flavor for a very long time and just came out with a blackberry lemonade this year. And that and the Primal Punch, they both taste really good, especially for a test booster because of all the herbals. I would say, though, just in general, to get right, and what took us the longest was probably Fury, the new Fury Platinum, because our last Fury edition, Fury X, sold really well in the beginning because it was new and it was kind of an innovative formula, but it had a very difficult, the flavor was okay, but the mouthfeel was really bad.
Yeah.
And so we had to correct that completely. So not only that, we knew pre-workouts, like they have to be perfect, right? Like everyone has a pre-workout. It's like a biggest category and it has to be perfect. It has to. So we tried so many different iterations of Fury Platinum, and man, we had that in the works for a solid, I don't know, 2/3 of a year. I mean, back and forth almost every week to nail that thing down. And so it tastes great. The formula is awesome. The pumps are incredible. The feeling, the euphoria, everything about it. The formulation itself is really innovative in terms of using ingredients that no one else uses in a pre-workout. So probably Fury was one of the most difficult to get to market. And that was the first of our rebrand. We knew that was going to be a flagship for Core. So that one probably took the longest.
So have we got, do you have a rough date of when that product's going to be out, Fury Platinum?
Oh, no, the Fury's already out.
Oh, right, okay.
We call the white tubs. Yeah, it's the Fury. It's just called Fury now. We call the white tubs because we transitioned from the black tubs to the white tubs. We call all of those platinum, right? So just to not be confused with the previous dark tubs, we call it Fury Platinum.
Right, okay. So sticking with the core nutritionals theme, I just want to talk about this bad boy, Zone. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that? Because that, for me, every time I use that, it's just absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. There's only 150 megs of caffeine in it.
Yeah.
The amount of focus, energy, and even like it hits you way harder than 150 milligrams. And right. And we wanted to create a nootropic that was on the lower stim side, but very high on the nootropic side. Yeah. And of course, gaming, esports and things like that are huge right now. I personally am not a gamer. So when, I wanted to create a product that I would want to use in the afternoon. If I'm not drinking America Energy, I'll have a scoop of Core Zone, right? Yeah. Or something that even could stack with Core Pump that is just like a lower stim pre-workout that gives you great focus. Obviously it doesn't have the pump aspect, so you could stack it with our non-stim pump products. But really we wanted to create we call it an advanced nootropic for the creative mind, so we're envisioning people like photographers and graphic designers and media managers, because, we actually had a lot of those people testing and sampling it. Yeah. utilizing this product. And so for me, it's almost like it's like a businessman's, nootropic, right? So we never wanted to promote this as a gaming supplement because I can't speak authentically to that. Now, we do have some gamers on staff that absolutely love it, and people that do game will say that it is bomb. Like, it is just awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't even speak to that. I know how I feel and how I get locked in if I'm like editing a scientific product write-up, or I'm really trying to come up with a new label concept, or something like that. Like, I get locked in. And so that was the idea behind the product. And I'm super pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's amazing. I don't use it every day because it's not every day that I need it. But when I do, I take it around about 2 o'clock. I finish work at 4, so it gives me that extra bit of a lift throughout the day, gets me absolutely dialed into what I need to do. But the mental focus is still there when I take my pre-workout and go to the gym. It just adds that little bit extra.
Yeah.
It gives you that little bit more focus in the gym, and it's just, I've not mixed them both together at the same time and took it to the gym, but splitting it a couple of hours apart is just frigging.
So if you're a high stim guy, and I've tried this before, I did 2 scoops of Core Pump non-stim.
Yeah.
And I did 1 scoop of Core Fury, because Core Fury is a 2 scoop serving.
Yeah.
So 1 scoop of Core Fury with 1 scoop of Core Zone. So your caffeine level is probably like 325. It's not super crazy high. Yeah. It is incredible. Like, it is just wild, the feelings you get. I want to be careful to say it. It almost feels like you're a little bit druggy. Like you're wild. Like, it's a sensation that is just very hard to explain, but very euphoric.
Wow, I'll have to give that a blast in one of my many over here. But I've got one of yours over here, the harness.
So do 1 scoop of harness with 1 scoop of zone would be awesome, because that's a 2 scoop serving as well.
Yeah, it is. So speaking of, obviously we're speaking about your products, and just pointed a couple out there, but out of all the products that you've used, what's your go-to, as in, for your main ones, your fat burner, your pre, your whey and your BCAs? Do you have specific ones where you just want to go, or you just pick and choose whatever you want?
My cabinet has harness, daily pump, vigor, replenish, core ABC, core pump, core fury, stars and pipes, red, white, and boom. And, people ask me now, do you use any other brands? I mean, at this point, the answer is no. Like, I only use our brands because I really feel like we're putting out the best brands, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll try a sample every now and again from the nutrition corners, but we have such a wide range, not only on flavors, but on effects and feel. So, like, depending on what I'm training that day, or if I'm dragging more than another day, or I don't feel like I need a stim, maybe I'll just take zone, or a lot of stim, I'll take zone, because it's lower stim. It really just depends. I don't necessarily have a favorite. I would say probably the biggest combo that I'll do is, like, my pre-workout will be a scoop of ABC, 2 scoops of pump, and 2 scoops of fury. And then I'll do, if I'm not doing that, I'll usually stack harness with daily pump, on that side. And then, if I want a really kind of higher stim, I'll do like a red, white, and boom, like one of the H-bomb edition or the A-bomb edition that I have and no one else has yet, stacked with stars and pipes. So really, I don't necessarily have a favorite, in that sense.
So so you just mentioned there, then, sometimes what your stat looks like. You say that you throw a scoop of BCAs in there. I've always thought about that, but I've never done it. Is there a specific reason why you throw yours in there?
So the way the core product line works is, like, we put beta alanine in our like our BCA product, right? Like, so it's in ABC. That's what the B stands for, beta alanine. So we don't put beta alanine in Fury, but we do have beta alanine in Pump. And I just like that little extra kick, because sometimes having more than 3.2 grams in a pre, I like. And to be honest with you, I'm drinking ABC during my workout too.
Yeah.
So it's really just covering a little bit more. Like, it's not necessary, especially if you're drinking the BCAs during your training. And, I don't train fasted or anything. I'll eat before I train and then have a pre-workout and have my whole routine. So, Yeah. I mean, my thing is, you know, Fury and Pump pre, I'll do ABC intra, I'll do core post. I'll do core post, post workout.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really, like, I'm a big believer in peri nutrition.
Yeah, I absolutely love core ABC. I think it's an absolutely amazing product. Tastes great as well. You know, I've run out at the minute, and that's why I've got these here. But you know, I can't speak highly enough of it. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the new pina colada I'm addicted to. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've not tried that one. So I've tried the 2 Australian flavors and one of the crystal flavors, but I'll have to get hold of the pina colada.
Yeah, the pina colada is awesome.
I'll have to note that one down. So, since starting off with all of your companies, has there been, or more than likely has, but what's the biggest regret that you've had? Is it maybe not picking up a sponsored athlete in time? Is it not getting the right location or not getting the right flavor for a product?
That's a difficult question, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult question. I think, so in 2019, we started Arms Race. So I'll talk about that for a second. So in 2019, you know, I was recruiting Julian to come on board with Core, but he was at a point where he was already with Optimum. He was already with bodybuilding.com. You know, his next step was to create his own brand. So we pitched the idea of creating his brand, and it worked out. You know, we had an amazing direct-to-consumer launch. The next day, we signed like the biggest opening order deal with GNC in there for a new brand in their history. Like, and it's been a great ride. It's just a different dynamic because all the other brands, I'm the 100% owner, and in that brand, there's 3 partners involved. Where I'm the majority owner, but Julian and Kenton are also involved. So dealing with other partners in it definitely just creates different, unique situations.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the bigger challenges has been, at the end of the day, we needed to have Arms Race, which is a direct-to-consumer, digital-first, and GNC exclusive brand, stick to the same principles as the other brands, because I will refuse to do anything but, you know, things with those same core values. And Julian's aligned with that, right? Because it's his brand, right? It's modeled and vertically integrated really with his branding. And so, you know, having 3 separate brands that stick to the same core principles, but that are so unique and don't cannibalize each other, has been a challenge that I think we've done very well at. But that is definitely something that, so it's not like a regret. It's not a regret, but I would say it's more of a challenge. And I think we've become pretty good at doing it, right? We understand who our target market is for each of the different brands. Sure, we have people that will use all 3 brands, but for the most part, we generally understand our consumer for each of the 3 brands. So that's been a big challenge, but I think we've done pretty well at it. In terms of regrets, you know, I don't really have many regrets, or any regrets, I should say, because at the end of the day, yeah, we've made mistakes, right? Like, we've done things that probably didn't turn out the best, but I really wouldn't change it, because it, you know, all of those failures and all those mistakes are how you get better and how you get to where we are today. So, you know, I don't necessarily have any regrets.
So what's just going off there then? So in another sense, what's the biggest mistake that you've made in terms of the businesses?
On the retail side, in 2016, we opened 4 stores in 1 year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, right? And those 4 stores, yeah, I mean, that's been great. You know, they've been good for us. But I will say that, especially in a retail market where they weren't that far away from other stores, you need to give the retail time to marinate in the community. So, because the first store, I was the presence of the store. Because of the second store, my general manager, who runs all the stores now, Carl, he was the presence of that store. So those two stores were going to be good. Beyond that, you need to build other leaders. And so to build leaders for 4 stores in 1 year that can really grow a community and impact the community, just them and their personality, because the store's only as good as the leader that is in that store, is difficult. So that has been our biggest challenge in that sense. So in 2016, if I had to do it again, I probably would have done 2 stores. And 2 stores a year gives more stores more time to marinate, I would say. That was probably one of the biggest learning lessons. We also we opened a store in Maryland, Bethesda, and we were reading the demographics, and we learned a lot about it, that our interpretation of the demographics were completely wrong, because Bethesda is one of the highest income locations in the entire country. I'm talking like top 5 median average income, household income. That's not where we are successful in our stores. Yeah. Right? We're successful in actually lower income, not low income, but lower income places that are a little bit more blue collar than your higher end hoity-toity type neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the things that we actually look at is we kind of look at reverse demographics or reverse income. Like we look at those things. We look at closer to military bases and places where you're more likely to find people that really live to go to the gym or are more hardcore about that type of thing. So so that was another learning lesson. We closed that store within 10 months of opening. We moved we basically closed that store and then opened a store, our 3rd location in Virginia Beach, which is a very military heavy area. And immediately within the first month of that store, our rent was 1/4 of the rate that we paid in Bethesda. And their average daily sales were higher than they ever were in the first 10 months of Bethesda.
Wow.
In the first month.
Wow.
So, and the income was probably 40% of what it was in Bethesda. So again, that was something that it was a costly mistake. It probably cost us $200,000 in that process.
Wow.
But would I change it? Because I don't know, because I don't think it would have pointed out a glaring a fundamental flaw in our thinking in terms of retail locations.
Yeah.
And so that helped us kind of realize where we do shine and where we don't.
Yeah.
So again, I probably regret opening that store, but at the end of the day, we've come out better because of it.
Yeah, it's probably just a learning curve for the future, that.
Yep.
So talking about Arms Race and Julian, so how did that come about?
Yeah, so like I was saying, it was just that I was recruiting him for Core, right? So, and he was just at a point in his career where the next step would be to have a brand built around him as opposed to being a part of another brand. And so we pitched him an offer that they accepted, and kind of the rest is really history, know. So launched in June in 2019. Secured an exclusive with GNC. Now GNC has gone through a bankruptcy recently, which hurt us financially, because of when you go through bankruptcy, your vendors get hurt. But I will say they've been great to work with, and our relationship with them moving forward is super strong, and we're excited about the future of continuing to work with them. So it's still been really good, and we're excited about all the stuff that we have in the works for that brand as well.
Good. So it sounds like there's obviously going to be some good stuff going forward with Arms Race and Julian.
So Julian will be in town here. So we're located on the East Coast. He's on the West Coast. He'll be in town. First time traveling since COVID for the brand. So he'll be out here. Sunday night he comes in. So we have a big protein launch on Monday. We launch Foundation Strawberry Shortcake and Maple Pancake. And they're awesome. And so they launch direct to consumer on Monday. So he's going to be here to get content and to do stuff like that. So
cool. Hopefully it turns out to be a good day for you.
Thanks.
So just one for me is, I'll tell you what my daily supplementation is, and if there's anything that you can throw in there to say what's missing from mine, that could hopefully help me. Okay. So I use fish oils, glucosamine, fat burners every other morning. Your proteins, pre-workouts, HMB, L-carnitine, BCAAs, and greens. So is there anything missing from there?
So I didn't hear creatine in there, but I'm assuming you're getting that maybe in your pre-workouts.
Yes.
Generally.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just say I am not a believer in a fat burner unless you truly are dieting. So if you're dieting and you hit a plateau, I think a fat burner is great. I would recommend generally, especially if you're kind of just not really dieting, I would recommend going more with a non-stimulant based fat burner.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you want to save your caffeine around times when you need it. When you need a pick-me-up or a pre-workout, you want to save your caffeine for that. So if you're doing like an afternoon pick-me-up, you're doing a morning fat burner, you're doing a pre-workout before you work out in the afternoon, that's a lot of caffeine, right? Yeah. So I would just say chill on that. I think, how old are you?
Same age as you.
All right. So what I think would be great in that stack would be, a product like Stabilize from Arms Race or Core Hard.
Yeah.
From, Core Nutritionals. Basically, things in there that are going to balance out hormones. So like cortisol, estrogen, so I think having a product like that, especially if your caffeine intake is high, would be really important. I also think you could add in some, like a natty test booster like Core Alpha or something like that in there. I mean, people love our Big Papa stack, which is Core Alpha, Core Test, Core Hard, and 5AT. I'm on it now, and I love it. Every time I take it, I feel like I get stronger every workout. And it does make a real difference. But I would say number one in that list is taking Core Hard would be great, or Stabilize, something like that.
Core Hard or Stabilize. Okay. I will definitely invest in some of that. So before we move on to the last lot of things, just want to see if you're up for a bit of a quick fire round. I've got 6 questions.
All right, let's go.
So the last played song on your phone, do you know what it is?
Oh, I think it's Whiskey in the Jar, probably by Metallica.
Who sings that?
Yeah. Oh, no, wait, we got Eminem, Till I Collapse. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Quality tune.
Yeah.
Last meal that you eaten?
Ground turkey, broccoli, rice. Pretty bro. That's literally what I ate. Yep.
The last book that you read?
Oh, I just went back and not including the Bible, which I read some last night, but not including that, I just went back and started re-skimming portions of Good to Great by Jim Collins, which is just a great book. It's really like our secular Bible for our Nutrition Corner stores and how to run and build a business. Yeah. There's some great principles in there. And so yesterday we had a managers meeting, and Carl, our GM, suggested we go back through that because we have some new managers. So I started, peeking back at that book, and that's one of my all-time favorites.
Cool. I'll have to look at that one. Is there anything that you're binge watching at the minute?
Binge watching. So I'm trying to think, what is the last thing that we binge watched? The last Netflix series I watched was Away. It's about like Mars space travel.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was good.
Especially when they're out in space and they're like floating out there, you literally are on the edge of your seat. It was crazy. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it was good. So if you're feeling demotivated and tired, what's your go-to song to get your ass up and out the gym?
I love the song "Wash It All Away" by 5 Finger Death Punch.
5 Finger Death Punch. I'll have to give
Wash
that
It All Away. It's just a great song. It's yeah. I have it here. It's literally on my playlist. I looked down and it was like numbered. It was right on the top of my playlist, and Yeah, it's just such a great song. It's like I love to train to it. It's a winner.
I'll have to definitely give that one a listen. So, last question is: it's your last supper. You're allowed 5 people, dead or alive. Who would they be?
Oh, man, that's difficult. So the easy answer um, would be my family, right? Like I really don't care so much, I would say, I mean, 5 makes it tough. Probably my mom and dad and my wife and 2 kids. And I guess my brother would be 6, right? But, that would probably be it. I could say things like, yeah, it would be pretty wicked to be like there with like George Washington and like Abraham Lincoln and King Tut and, who knows who else, right? Jesus Christ would be a pretty crazy one, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I probably would say it would be like I would want to be surrounded by my family.
Good answer. So before we move on to the last question, we slightly discussed before jumping on this, A-bomb.
Okay.
Should we talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay. So do you want to go through it? What's the reason behind it? I mean, I've got the ingredients here, and I'm looking at it thinking, wow, it looks like an amazing product. I mean, but 400 milligrams of caffeine is going to kick me up the ass.
It's just an incredible product. I mean, it is a high stim pre-workout. People absolutely expect that from America Labs, right?
Yeah.
And so the labels have a completely different look, and that's what we're going to do with every product drop after it. Everything's going to look slightly different. They'll still have a patriotic America theme to it, and obviously our logo and all that, but everything's going to be different. It's going to be a smorgasbord, and they're going to be potentially limited releases. So A-bomb could be here and gone, right? Okay. So we're designing it as, okay, we're launching. So we did an H-bomb version. We're going to do an A-bomb version. We're going to do an F-bomb version. We also have then right down the pipeline dropping January 1st, we have the napalm version. These are all different versions of Red, White, and Boom, all with a different take. I would say this is our take on a very high stim, very euphoric, performance-based pre-workout. So it's not just going to stim you out of your mind. It's going to have some really crazy nootropic effects and also give you great performance effects because of the clinical doses of things like creatine mono, citrulline, beta-alanine, alpha GPC, things like that. So it's a very, very well-rounded, complete pre-workout. Just it leans on the heavy. Your stim junkies will like it.
Yeah, I mean, just going down the list, there's a couple of things there for, energy and focus and brain function, and you do see that in certain products nowadays, but yours is like top end dosages compared to what they've got in theirs. Theirs is very minimal. And I think that's where core America Labs and more than likely going forward again with Arms Race is that's where you guys are going to be top of the game, top of the tree if you like with your products. And that's why I love your products that much, because you know what you're getting, and there's absolutely quality dosages in there. So one last thing before we wrap up is there anything new in the pipeline for any of the brands, or possibly Always. A new brand coming?
Always. So I will say at the moment, there is no new brand at the moment. So we first need to get to North Carolina. So I've told my team, well, I'm not going to even be thinking about another brand until, end of next year.
Yeah.
So, but we are in the process of rebranding America Energy, which is a massive project. And our take on that is we were debating on whether to go super high, just throw a ton of actives in it, or stay with our moderate actives, moderate stim, but amazing tasting pre-workout. And at the end of the day, the amazing tasting pre-workout will beat this pre-workout or this, energy drink all day long. People care most about taste, then about like the look and the branding, and then I would say the actives in that order. So we are going to come out with 4 to 6 flavors, slightly different than previously, but literally Stack 3D still calls it like the best tasting energy drink out there. Yeah. We're going to stay on that level or above. If we went down the route of doing a higher dose energy drink, which most people don't drink it for, but it had this chemically, artificially fishy smell, and we really know how to flavor this stuff too.
Yeah.
Even then, it was just like a little bit off, and I just can't allow that. So we're focused purely on just making this just bomb tasting, and the look of it is going to be incredible. We'll look and feel and everything about it. So that's a big project. The America Labs has A-Bomb dropping on the 19th. Black Friday, we're dropping Full Metal Jacket, which is our phosphatidic acid-based product.
Okay.
Then January 1st, we have the Napalm edition of Red, White, and Boom dropping. And then we have Patriots Way flavor. We got a ton of America stuff coming. On the core side, there's some huge stuff coming. Our Black Friday is going to be absolutely ridiculous. We got a lot of drops coming up, including Poison Sear, which is a non-stim fat burner and a women's health and thyroid product coming out the first days of Crushmas, which are in December. Arms Race, we got protein flavors dropping next week. We got 2 new flavors of Harness in the works. We got a Thermo in the works. I mean, it's just nonstop. We have so many things on all sides of the brand. It's wild.
You see the smile on my face. I'm just looking forward. You're reeling them off, and I'm just like.
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't said this. I don't think I've said this anywhere else. But we're doing a mystery flavor with giveaway chances and all sorts of stuff. Of Core Fury.
Okay.
On Black Friday, and the look is completely different. You guys are going to be blown away by it, and the flavor is absolutely ridiculous. So more about that to come. You guys will hear about that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll all have to keep our eyes peeled for that on your social medias.
Yeah.
So one more question that I meant to ask before was, is there an ingredient that has absolutely blown your mind and thought, I've got to use that?
A single ingredient?
Yeah.
No, not like we got to use it, right? Because there's always ways to formulate something out of a product, in my opinion, if you know enough things, right? I will say that there are certain ingredients that, I wish were still around, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like DMHA and things like that, but they can't be around anymore. Because I actually didn't like DMAA. I like DMHA though. Certain ingredients like that, I wish were still around because it does give a pre-workout kind of a different experience. I will say that even Fury, A-Bomb, they give you a DMHA-esque type of feel without the DMHA.
Right. Okay. So, that'll wrap up my episode 2. With Doug Miller. So, Doug, where can people find you? What's your handles? And I'll put them all in the description.
I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, I'm probably most active on Instagram. So, at Doug Miller Pro is where you can find me on Instagram. And then all the brands, corenutritionals.com, americalabs.com, americaenergy.com, armsracenutrition.com. All of those have their own social media accounts as well, which you guys can find. But I'm probably most active on Instagram.
Brilliant. So thanks very much, Doug. Thanks for your time, and hope to get you on for another episode soon.
Awesome. All right, thank you
very much. Cheers.
Yeah. See ya.
Hi guys, I'd like to say thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it on your socials, tell friends, family, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to keep up to date with all the latest episodes. You can also find us on YouTube, hit the like button on all your socials, give us a 5-star rating on wherever you listen to your podcast. And until next time, we're out of here.